Welcome to the Soul Archaeology podcast, a space for connection, resonance, witnessing, and learning. Together we'll harvest medicine from the spiral of life, sharing conversations with other embodied humans who have navigated their own initiations and found alignment with their true soul essence. With weekly astrology, energy updates, embodied conversation, and channeled teachings, this is a space for you to land and find resonance with the spiral of your own soul. Hello, and welcome back to Soul Archaeology. I hope you're all integrating the eclipse season well. Mercury finally went direct. Hallelujah. It went direct last Wednesday on the 25th of April. And we'll be moving through that shadow period until May 7th, which is ironically when we are completing the eclipse portal as well on May 8th. So we have a week of completions. We have a week of allowing the dust to settle, to really take a look around, take inventory. What are you feeling and sensing after the storm? What's left? What's been moved within you? What's changed? With eclipses, the energy starts to build about a month before, and it completes a month after the last eclipse. So we had our first eclipse on the 25th of March and our second one on April 8th in Aries, a solar eclipse in Aries, which was a big total eclipse for much of the United States. And so by May 8th, we're officially closing the eclipse portal. Now we do have a wider eclipse portal that kind of is open for 6 months. So they occur every 6 months. So we have this pattern or this sort of cycle that's playing out, this new cycle that's playing out over the next 6 months until the fall. And it's where we deepen our work, so we've done so much work over the last month. These eclipses really shook us down into our roots, our relational framework, where all of our relationships, our connections, our connection to self is formed. And so what's been revealed for you? What's been changed? What have you learned? What have you lost? What have you received? It's been such an eclipsey time. And when I say eclipsey, I think about things coming in and leaving really quickly. A lot of sudden changes, revelations, surprises. So much of this peeling back and pulling back as we've navigated Mercury retrograde as well. A lot of old relationships coming back online, either in the physical or through the dream space, through thoughts and memories. And we've just been doing some heavy lifting. So I just invite you to take a moment to place your hand on your heart, maybe a hand on your belly, and just sit with what's actually occurred for you over the last month. What have you learned? What have you lost? What have you received? Where are you being called to step into more of your power? Where are you being called to release, let go, trust? Because this North Node in Aries is really initiating us. It's really calling us forward. It's calling us into our power more and more. And so much of this energy is asking you, where have you been giving away your power? Where have you been afraid to step into it? Where are you staying small or staying complacent or people-pleasing, defaulting to those more collapsed or docile or sort of frozen energies? And now on the other side of these storms, these big karmic storms, that's what I call eclipses, are karmic storms. And then with the it's been such an insane month. April has just been wild, but the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, we had a Mars and Saturn conjunction. It's really been quite the month. And with all of this activation, basically in, some pretty intense areas of our chart, when we think about that, it's really been putting us through the ringer. It's really been calling us forward to notice where we are escaping, coping, self-abandoning, where we're hiding from our true path and our true power. So we're in integration mode. We are letting the dust settle. We're letting the storm calm. And we're just walking around and kind of taking inventory. It's a week of noticing, of observing how you're feeling, what's changed within you, where you're showing up differently to situations and circumstances, where you're responding differently, the somatic experiences within you, and how they might have shifted over the last month. And like I mentioned before, eclipses are very karmic. They deal with the south and the north node. So there's so much about the past that's getting kicked up as the future is being shifted. And so it might have felt very retrograde or even regressive. And that's really normal. So while you're in this integration phase of just sort of noticing what's different, maybe you start to feel some clarity drop in. With Mercury going direct, we're still not out of the shadow, but at least we'll start to maybe get some glimpses into what the next chapter holds. In my 2024 forecast, I did mention, I'm not protecting myself here, but I'm just saying I did mention that 2024 is one of these push and pull years again. 2025 is a big year. It holds a lot of change. We have some outer planets changing and shifting signs. By 2026, all of the outer planets will be in new signs. And so there's quite a lot that we're building towards. And this year is still a little bit of this back and forth, push and pull. It can feel uncomfortable because you can feel like, you're in the ocean, a wave just knocked you down and you fought to get back up and you feel confident, and then another wave comes, right? But these waves are really important because they're helping us build resilience. They're bringing in lessons, opportunities for us to understand ourselves more deeply, to engage and interact with life in more deep and profound ways. They're catalyzing events to create some sort of cracking open or even perhaps rupture in our lives that calls us to change, that calls us into making the shifts that are really needed in our life, the uncomfortable or scary shifts perhaps. And this week it's an interesting one. We've kind of had about 3 or 4 weeks of just heavy hitters, pretty profound astrological events occurring for at least a month. And really March and February were pretty intense as well. So it's been a time. This week we have Venus moving into Taurus, which is wonderful and grounding and luxurious. I love Venus in Taurus. If you have Venus in Taurus, consider it a gift. It's so beautiful. It's so sensual and tactile, and it's really going to ground us and help us sort of orient on the physical plane. Taurus represents the material plane. It represents the physical. It represents our physical bodies, the pleasures in life. It's Venusian, so it really deals with pleasure, joy, beauty in the physical. So the physical manifestation or embodiment of beauty. Mars will also be entering into Aries this week as well. So we have 2 of our inner planets moving into their happy places. Mars loves to be in Aries. Venus loves to be in Taurus. So there's some alignment and flow coming in this week, which is beautiful as we move towards that closing of the shadow, Mercury shadow, and the eclipse portal. We'll get this month is a pretty interesting one. Pluto also stations retrograde on May 2nd, and it will be there for 5 months. We have from September 1st through November 19th, as it retrogrades, it dips back into Capricorn for those dates, and I've talked about that quite a bit, but it is significant. It will bring us into a deeper relationship with our psyche, with our programs, patterns, our internal and external underworld. It will be introspective, as it always is, and really an incredible opportunity to excavate whatever we need to from Pluto and Capricorn. We won't be seeing it again in our lifetime. And so it's imperative. It's looking at, the last 15 years. It's doing some of that backwards energy that we were talking about before, retrieving things from the past, information, data, lessons and learnings that we need to build a really fortified future self. I always think of, when I think of Pluto and Capricorn, it's doing a lot of the masculine work, money, resources, structure, discipline. Where are you perhaps avoiding or pushing away those energies within you? What is your relationship to the masculine, internally and externally? Our own internal masculine dictates our relationship with the external masculine. And this is an up-leveling moment. It's an opportunity to really step into the highest, most evolved masculine within us in order to call in more masculine energies that are within that frequency as well. We've had Venus in Aries, and it's been fiery, especially with the North Node in Aries, especially with the South Node in Libra. We've been doing such deep relational work, really intense, big stuff. And with Venus in Taurus, it's just going to ground some of this energy. It's going to give us some real perspective, an opportunity to build rather than dismantle or dissolve or deconstruct. It's an opportunity to start building new, beautiful bonds. Have you lost some relationships during the retrograde? This is an opportunity to perhaps invite in new grounded, more aligned connection. Later in May, we have Jupiter moving into Gemini. We have Venus moving into Gemini. So we have some externalized sort of airy movement in the skies. And so the first part of May is really about grounding, anchoring, finding your footing on the other side of this storm, this karmic storm that we've been within. Put your feet on the earth, ground. Notice where you are within time and space, where your body is, how your body feels, how it wants to move, what it wants to express to you. Once again, nature is such a powerful resource, especially during Taurus season. It's a way to really find an incredibly powerful resource, some co-regulation with the earth, feeling her vibration through your body into each and every cell, feeling your whole central channel uncoil, and finding that sense of peace and calm and serenity that you crave. Today we were visiting this really cool old stone home in Topanga. They believe it might be the oldest home in Topanga, and it's just 3 or 4 houses down from us, and on this incredible property I didn't even know existed. It felt like a different world, and it was full of grass. And if you live in Topanga or Topanga, there's not much grass, like short grass. And there was an actual lawn there. And I just took my shoes off and just walked around on the sunny lawn and felt the anchoring that comes from being connected to this planet, the sense of safety, the sense of peace and calm. I had a moment of true and real regulation, which is such a gift, and felt this canyon holding me, and felt the warmth of the sun on my skin and all the people around who have been here for decades, and just the beauty of this canyon and of nature and of the way that the world is changing and moving so rapidly. It can be so disorienting. But when I look at this canyon and I look at the rocks and I look at the trees, some of the trees are hundreds of years old. The rocks are very old. I'm not even going to guess how old they are. But when I look at those, they're so strong and consistent and dependable. And that's where I find my deepest sense of regulation, is just in the dependability and the stability of this planet, knowing her ancient wise wisdom. the knowing she has, and the ability she has to really hold us and carry us through these changing times. As she transforms, so do we. And so you integrate the tail end of this storm. Trust in where you're being led. Trust that you have a resource. When you drop into meditation or connection to self, don't forget to connect to her, to ground, to resource, Mother Earth, and all of the wisdom and the beauty she has to offer. She is one of the most powerful and beautiful resources we have. So enjoy this week. Enjoy the pause. You might still feel chaotic. You might still feel so much changing and shifting. It really depends on where this landed in your chart, what's still unfolding for you on the other side of these storms. Maybe you feel really uncomfortable. That's okay. But find that one golden thread within you, all the way at the base of your spine, the connection to the earth that pulls you into yourself, that pulls you deeper into connection with her, and trust it. The card I pulled today from the Untamed Elemental deck is the Storm card, which felt very appropriate, and it's all about transition. And it says, she is the cycle of madness necessary to reclaim serenity. Before storm's arrival, the gathering charge expands, creating deep unrest. She weaves her rumble of thunder with flashes of lightning, commanding immediate attention. Her climactic performance echoes through the theater of the gods, opening new dimensions. Finally, the skies rain down the tears that precede tomorrow's renewal. Storm indicates transition. In the midst of the tempest, you might wonder how much damage will be done, or even whether you'll survive. Remember, the polarity of destruction is renewal. One does not exist without the other. How you endure the storm will influence your ability to regenerate once it's over. Now is the time to take exquisite care of yourself. Soon the sun will be out, the air will be fresh and full of vitality, and a new world will be revealed. When it's balanced, you're confident in your resiliency. Imbalance, trepidation in the midst of change. To bring into balance, stabilize your body's electrical environment by embracing the theory of grounding. You can't make that up. And it's so true. I mean, we are in such a big transition stage. We are transitioning in a million different ways, collectively, individually, a million different ways internally. It can feel really disorienting. I was even thinking about that today, thinking about how much has changed for me over the last 7 years, how disorienting it can feel. You know, there's so much that I feel in alignment with, but when I look back, so little is the same. And that can feel really scary. And so it's important to notice what is the same and allow that to be a resource and a guide for you. Really an anchor. And then to embrace the unknown, let go. Trust where you're being led. Trust that the storm is going to drop you exactly where it needs you. I'm sending you so much love, compassion, support. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for your reviews, your ratings, your support, your inquiries, your messages. It all means so much. I can't tell you how much it means. I love this podcast. It's just brought incredible people into my sphere, and I hope it's helpful for you. If you have any questions for me, always feel free to reach out. Let me know how it lands. I am now taking clarity calls for mentorship that begins in June. If you are interested in my 3-month container, it is a very deep dive. It's a very lovingly structured container to navigate the deepest layers of your being as you navigate change, transition. If you've experienced these catalyzing events that have cracked you open and you're ready to go deeper into yourself to reclaim and create a sense of connection that's deeper than before. This is my favorite way to work with people. It's so intimate. It's so powerful. I've seen insane shifts happen from the beginning to the end of these containers. And I'm just so grateful to be able to do this work and to walk alongside some of the most amazing people that I've ever met. Very grateful for that. If you're interested, you can book a clarity call. You can message me if you have more questions. But I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful week. Happy Taurus season, and I'll see you next week.